Saturday, September 28th, and we're going to do a little more of an in-depth video on the girl puppies that people can use to help in their selection process. So we're just going to kind of introduce you again to each pup, give you a little more information about them. Got a lap full of puppies here and several more running around, so we'll see if we can keep track of who we've done and who still needs to be done. But we'll just go ahead and get started. We'll start, I guess, with this gold puppy, because she is the one that's easiest for me to grab. So this is the dot color, which means she is from Willow's litter, and it's the gold puppy. Some things that are unique about her: she is lighter in overall color than the rest of the pups. She just has a little bit lighter coloring to her. That's not right or wrong, it's just a matter of preference. She's getting buried here. And let's just show you her markings. We're gonna tip her up a little. She has some markings right here on her right side of her chest and a little bit right there in her throat area. She has solid front paws, but she has marked, move your feet. She has marked back paws on both sides. She will probably be middle in size as far as comparison to these other puppies. And then I would also say she'll be average to large just in comparison for a female compared to the breed as a whole. Her mama is really, really slender but very, very tall. And then her dad is an average size Vizsla. So I would, excuse me, I would guess her to be average to large at maturity. And, you know, kind of again, middle compared to the ones that you have to select from here. As far as her personality, she might, and this is like an underlined might, there's only been slight hints of it, so I can't even say for sure. She might be slightly more reserved than some of the other pups. I've just noticed a couple of times, like if she's playing with a toy and another pup comes up, she very willingly submits her toy and gives it. And so she might be just slightly to the submissive side, but I would still call her pretty middle range as far as temperament and personality. Again, she is out of Willow, so that is Willow's gold girl. Let's do Willow's other girls so that we can keep track, hopefully, of who we've done. Here's a polka dot one. Come here, Willow. Yeah. So Willow had 3 girls. Here is her another one of her girls. This is the yellow polka dot. So they're a little bit similar, but we have gold and yellow. Here is the yellow girl. And we'll roll her back and show you her. So she has definite marking right here in the center on her chest and quite a bit in her throat area that you can see right there. Her front paws are solid and her back paws are marked. If we can get those up here. She's got marking on both back paws. She is a little bit darker than the gold puppy. We actually have the gold puppy coming back up, so we'll just kind of show you. I don't know if the camera will pick up the difference in coloring. There's not a whole lot of difference. I would say the face is probably where it's the most noticeable, but oh, don't eat her ear. Gold here. This one is slightly lighter than yellow. So there are those two. As far as, I should bring yellow back. As far as her personality, very middle range. Most of these girls are, their personalities are seeming middle range at this point. Now, of course, no one has a crystal ball. Temperament is also very, very influenced by environment and life circumstances, life experiences. Very, very, very much influences, especially a Vizsla's temperament. And obviously, as they grow, their personalities continue to develop as well, just like their bodies do. But at this point, most of these girls are just really seeming pretty middle range on temperament, which is going to bring in things like how energetic they are. You can have them from easygoing to extremely energetic. Most Vizslas will be somewhere right there in the middle. Of course, for a Vizsla, that is compared to themselves. For a Vizsla, even an easygoing Vizsla is usually going to be pretty energetic compared to other breeds. Temperament also is going to take in things like their confidence. Are they timid and are afraid of things? Or are they fairly confident and they approach something new with confidence? Again, you're going to have some that are confident, some that are timid, most are going to fall somewhere in between. And then Other things would be like their dominance, and that is whether or not they want to be in control or whether they submit to another dog and let them be in control. So those are the kinds of things I mean when I talk about their temperament. And these girls are all really seeming pretty middle range. Got a little spot in your eye. That's a good thing. A middle range temperament on a puppy are probably the easiest ones to train, but that's not to say that the other extremes are bad, especially like depending what you want your dog to do. Different people have different purposes and different things they want their dog to fulfill in their life. And you know, sometimes easygoing, submissive is better for what you're after, and sometimes a confident or dominant dog is better for what you're after. It's just important that you know and understand your dog's personality so that you know how to approach the training with your particular dog. Because just like people, each one is an individual. But that was a long-winded way to say most of these girls are falling right in that middle range at this point. We'll continue to watch them as they grow, and like I say, once they get to your home, their personalities will continue to develop, and the situations and experiences they have will have a huge influence on that. We strongly suggest positive training, not harsh training, especially for this breed, and how they're trained really can change their temperament. All right, so we've done the gold and the yellow polka dot. I'm looking for purple. There she is. Maybe we can play tug of war and get her over here. Come here, Purple. Come here, sweetheart. We're going to reel you in like a fish. Ah, we got you. Okay, so here is Willow's third girl. Her collar's kind of inside out, but this is the purple dot puppy. Again, she's a little bit darker than the gold. The gold is lighter than the rest of the pups. Let's roll her back and take a look at her. Watch out, sweetheart. We're going to look at purple right now. Okay. If we look at her chest, there's a tiny bit of white right there. It's really hard to tell. The hair on their chest is really thin at this stage. They're transitioning from their baby fur to the next stage of their fur, and it's really quite thin. And I don't know on the camera, like some of this might appear white, but it's just thin spots. But that right there is a little tiny few hairs, slightest bit of a marking right there on her chest. Let's look under her chin area. Chin up. Let's move the ribbon and take a look. There are just a couple of white hairs right in there in her neck area. We have solid front paws, and if we can get a hold of both of them, there are just a couple of white hairs on that toe, but pretty much solid back paws on her. And again, I would call her a middle range temperament. She probably is a little more on the confident side. I haven't really noticed dominance with her, but like when she wants to do something, she'll keep continuing to try to do something. She's very confident in that way of herself, and she doesn't just give up. You know, she continues to go for what she's wanting to do. So that is our purple one. All right, I've got a lap full of solid puppies, so we'll do Sage's litter next. The majority of the girls are from Sage. Sage had 6 girls, and most of them are on my lap. So let's go for them. These ones are asleep. Let's do you, Purple. Okay, so this is the solid purple. So she is out of Sage. Sage's pups are a week older than the other ones. So they're approaching 6 weeks, and the other ones are approaching 5 weeks. So just being a week older does make quite a difference in size. So her pups are going to seem a little bit bigger, especially compared to Meadows. Part of that is age, but also Sage is a very large dog, and River the dad is a very large Vizsla. So I would expect Sage's pups to be a little on the big side, as well as Willow's, who we just did the polka dots. Willow is a pretty big dog too. And then we'll get to Meadows in a minute. So here is Sage's purple girl. She's very dark. Sage is a very dark dog. Sage has very dark fur and nails and eyes. And we're seeing that in her pups. If we look at Purple here, she does have some white right there on her chest. Let's lift up her chin. She's looking solid in the chin. Oh, hi, baby. Hi. We've got just about 3 or 4 white hairs right around that toenail. I know, sweetheart. And we've got a frosting on both of the back toes. a little bit of a frosting there. So those are her markings. They're all quite energetic at the moment, as you can see. They woke up from their nap and they're ready to play. But I would call purple, again, middle range on her temperament. Okay, so we gotta keep track of who we've done with these ones. Let's do green. Green is another girl out of Sage, solid green here. Again, you're gonna see deep coloring coming out of Sage's pups. We roll her back. There's a tiny hint of a marker right there on the cowlick of her chest. I'm not seeing anything in the throat right now. Her front paws are solid, and her back paws are solid. So just a tiny bit there on the chest. Another good idea is to go back and consult the videos we made early on, right after they were born, because like I said, the fur on their chest is quite thin at this point. And so if you want to refresh yourself on what their markings were like when they were first born, they're a lot more dramatic and easy to see at that point. So this is our green girl. And again, another middle line. Sage is a very confident dog, and so temperament's not necessarily genetic, but a lot of it is a learned behavior. They can learn behaviors from their parents as well. So I would guess that Sage's pups are going to swing more to that confident side as they continue to grow. But again, nobody has a crystal ball. At this point, we're seeming middle range. Okay, so we've done purple and green. Should we do you, Pink? You look like you're about to fall asleep. Let's do you. So here is Sage's pink girl. She is definitely the largest of all of these female puppies. So River, the dad of Sage's litter, like I said, is an exceptionally large Vizsla. And Sage leans towards the large size too. And I think this girl here is getting some of that extra big size coming from her daddy. So if there's someone looking for a large female, I think she is definitely going to fit that description. Again, your really deep coloring coming through Sage's litter. If we roll her back and take a look, she's got several, and I don't know if the camera even picks it up. It's more noticeable on her than the other pups. There's several of these long hairs on her tummy, and they tend to be white in color. Those are just a transition stage, so you don't need to be worried about those. Those aren't a marking or anything. It's very typical for that to show up at this age. I'm sorry, sweetheart, watch out. But if we look, I'm not seeing any actual markings, just those longer guard hairs that are just a transitional phase. Let's put your chin up. And I'm not seeing anything right now in her neck or throat either. Again, consult her puppy videos. And then solid on the front paws. She can unbury her feet. She has markings on both back paws. I'll start with her right foot. It's just a little bit right at the edge on that one. But the left paw, if we can get it up here, has definitely more markings there. Again, this is coming through daddy. Mom, Sage, is a solid dog. River has marked feet, marked back feet. And so, that's where you're seeing that marking come from, is through daddy. Definitely the biggest girl, like I said. Very deep in color. I would call her a middle range puppy. I'm seeing maybe a little bit more confidence from her, but I wouldn't say necessarily dominance. And what I mean by that is I've noticed when she plays with the other puppies, she really wants to initiate play, and she approaches the other puppies very playful and wanting to initiate things. So I see that confidence, but if the other puppy doesn't want to play with her right away, she doesn't push it and tackle them and turn it into a wrestle fight like a dominant puppy might. She backs off if they don't want to play. So I'm seeing more confidence, but I wouldn't at this point classify it as dominance from her. All right, let's see here. Teal is on my lap, and we haven't done her yet. Come here, Teal. Let's lift you up. Okay, again, we're a solid ribbon, which is the color code for Sage's litter. So she's out of Sage and River. Again, the deep coloring. We're seeing that in most of these pups. If we roll, hi, Purple. Hi, we already did you. Yeah, we already did. Oh. Okay, so here we go. For Teal, I know babies, but we'll lift her up. Maybe that will work. She has marking, definite badge right here in the center of her chest. And if we look in her throat and neck, hold on, let me look close and see. All these pups are in my way. I'm only seeing thin spots, not any actual white. So I'm not seeing any white in her throat at this point. If we look, front paws are solid. Oh, purple, you feel. My goodness. And just a little bit on back toes of the right foot. And even less, just a little bit on that one toenail, right around the toenail of the back foot. So that is our Teal girl. As far as Sage's pups go, oh, there goes Peach. Teal is slightly smaller than some of the other girls of Sage's litter. We will weigh each puppy, and we'll put that in print on the website, because the selection process for this many puppies can take quite a while. So if it's typed up, we can keep that updated more easily. And so we will weigh each puppy and put their weight comparison, so you know exactly how they compare with each other's weight. But she is a little bit smaller. She and Purple are probably a little bit smaller of Sage's pups. Again, middle range girl right there. Peach is trying to run away, so let's hurry and catch her before she goes. Come here, Peach. Oh, let's pull you away from your sisters. Okay, there you go. So here is our Peach girl. Not as big as Pink, but still gonna be a pretty good sized girl, I think. So here's Peach, and she is dark in color. If we roll her back and lift up, she is solid in the chest. And it's looking solid in the throat at this point. We have solid front paws and solid back paws on her. So again, you can consult their younger videos to see what markings they had when they were born. But at this stage right now, she is appearing to be solid. She's starting to get tired, but I would call her middle range personality as well. Can we lay you over here so we have room? Okay. We gotta dig Yellow out of the bottom of the pile here, because we've already done these other two girls. Okay. Here she comes. Okay, so here is Yellow from Sage, our solid yellow puppy. Not as big as Pink, the bright pink girl. If we look at her, she's got those longer hairs like I was mentioning, but those go away. I haven't ever seen those stick around. She appears to be solid on the chest and solid in the throat. And she has solid front paws. We've got just a couple of hairs on that one toe right there of her back left foot. Is all I'm seeing on Yellow right now. So there is our Yellow girl. And again, another middle range. All these girls are really seeming to be middle range at this point. Okay, we got our 3 polka dots there. Who's behind me? Come here, sweetheart. Can I make you up? Oh, we did you. You're purple, yellow, teal, peach, green, pink. I think we got all of Sage's. Will you hand me Meadow's puppy? I think that's our last girl. I think we got all the rest.
Okay.
All right, Meadow's one girl is our last girl to show you. So Meadow had mostly boys and just one girl in her litter. When her litter was the chevron or zigzag pattern. So here is the chevron pink puppy. Puppy doggy. So we will show her to you. She is the smallest of all of these females. So if you're looking for a small girl, this pink chevron might be the gal for you. Like we said, Sage's bright pink is definitely the biggest, and this one is definitely the smallest. So even though Willow's puppies are the same age as Pink here, they are a week younger than Sage's puppies, but Willow's puppies are a lot bigger than this one, and that's just genetics. Willow is a lot bigger dog than Meadow, and Meadow is quite small. So Pink here has her mama's size coming through. If we take a look at her, we'll roll her back. I'm not seeing anything on the chest or in the neck. She is solid on the front. Wrong paw there. Make sure we get the paws from the right puppy. And solid on the back. So she's not having any markings that are showing up at this point. And definitely the smallest. She may be a little bit submissive. It's really hard to say because each day they all just take turns showing different behaviors. You know, one day one will be really hyper and another day it'll be a different one. And they just kind of, you know, have different moods that they're in. So we have to take the glimpse of the whole picture of things. But I have on a couple of times seen her, you know, back off to another puppy if another puppy wants something. And that could just be that she's tired at that moment. I haven't seen it so frequently that I would say she's definitely more submissive, but she might show signs of leaning a little bit that direction. But I would call her pretty much middle range in most things, and she'll be a little bit smaller if that is what you're after.